Today is the day. Contact MikeCarbo@gmail.com or Anthony. Okay, this is a double guide or triple guide book. Right now the guide is around $10,000.
Okay, and the guide came out today.
Yeah, the price. Oh,
you know,
man,
the new price guide.
The new price guide.
I just got one too. He
I'll
dropped
call my
one
girl
off.
and tell her to bring it. Our super special guest.
So what is guide? Yeah, what is
guide?
guide?
Is around 10, 11,000 on this. So I was asking 2025. Today's special, $16,000 for an unrestored action first 6 issues. Still 1938. So that's the first year that Superman came out, and it's the first appearance of Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah, first appearance of Jimmy Olsen in a comic book ever. That's cool.
Also
part of the huge DC and Superman universe. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And there's like what, a 7-8 page story, Superman story in there?
Yeah, 7-8 pages at the beginning of it. Yeah. And of course you put a gorilla on the cover. And the old adage, Julius, who was the editor. I remember when I used to run the Big Apples in the basement of the church. Was the editor. I go, Julius, tell me the gorilla. He said, yeah, every time I put a gorilla chomping on a cigar, I put a gorilla on the cover, it would sell twice as much. Everything had a gorilla on it. That's what he told me. It was great.
And there's Mike, and there's me, you know, with my wallet. I have my wallet here, and he's sneaking up behind me to like grab get everything I have in my wallet.
This will be gone by the weekend, I promise you.
Yeah.
There you go.
What do you got? What you got? Something?
Comic books to sell. Oh, show me. You told me you bought something really cool.
Oh, this is my favorite thing I bought on the whole show. This is an amazing piece of Marvel memorabilia art from 1966. In 1966, they got a license to do these Marvel flyers.
You don't have the art.
I do have the art. To this. Look at this. So this is all the flyers that they were making. And here's the art to them.
Holy caramba.
So that's the original art.
5, 6, 7, 8. Whoa.
To all these little package art. So it's a packaging
12. That's the complete set.
3, 6, 9, 12. Yep. So that's all of them.
Original packaging.
You know, you've seen me and Mike swap back and forth a lot of Marvel memorabilia stuff.
I would buy this for twice what you paid for it.
Right.
In a New York Minute.
This is something. It's not really for sale. This is the kind of stuff I want to collect.
This is
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. I mean, getting Marvel stuff from the and this is the MMS era.
Yeah, so 1966.
Marvel, which you have some stationery there, which we did a little business earlier.
This I get from this was the office stationery that no watermark, but I mean this original 66 stationery, right?
Well, 65, 66. There's the one that has the italicized imprint, that's 63. Then the one with all the characters on it, I believe that's 64. This is the 65, the MMS era. This is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, that's the favorite thing I've gotten at this show. I saw this with another art dealer, and I was like, I'll take that.
I bought something incredible at the show, but I sold it already. I bought a Forbidden Planet. As you know, I've been talking about it on my show, a 3-sheet. From the show, and we bought it at the show, a 3-sheet. And the 3-sheet is a giant version, literally 3 1-sheets of what you normally would see to advertise a movie in the theater with the robot on it, and we'll be showing you pictures of it on our website. And
so that was your big deal of the show so far, right?
That was just yesterday.
But that was the big deal of the show so far, right?
So far, actually, yeah, we got another one. We got a 7th Voyage of Sinbad 1-sheet now that we're selling.
7th Voyage? Yeah. What happened to his first 6 voyages?
I don't know. He's still sailing.
Yeah. Well,
I'm still working on that.
So the 1 through 6 weren't successful. He had to go for 7.
We have another guest of ours, a friend, but we're going to bring him on in a moment, and you can introduce our friend.
Okay, when
so
should I introduce my friend?
Make sure to get the name right so I don't make any mistakes. And he'll tell us a little bit about the legal parts, the legalese of comics. And
well, you want to do a quick deal first?
Yeah, let's do a quick deal. Okay. This is something I'm not going to sell. Right? It's a Jack Kirby sketch of Mr. Miracle, and I just thought it was really cool for somebody to see a Jack Kirby. This is already basically sold. Sorry, I cannot sell you that one.
That's okay.
Super cool. Yeah, he didn't really want that. But we got some comic books here in really nice shape. Something we just got these pressed. These came off the press.
Hot off the press.
True meaning of. Plus, okay, from the Marvel Mania days. Okay, this is the Batman poster.
More Marvel Mania stuff. I'm always into that.
The second section of Marvel, which is actually to some people more popular because, you know, I mean, I wouldn't say the earlier art is primitive. It's the early Marvel art.
I actually know the collector that owns the original art to this poster.
No.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
He bought it for next to nothing.
We have to buy it.
Because nobody wanted that art. Nobody cared about the Black Knight.
Got 3. Yeah. And then they're going to make a movie of the Black Knight one day, and then everyone will be buying them. So go back again. You got 4, okay? And you've got 3 more that I have at my booth. I didn't bring. I have the Steranko.
Yeah, where's the Spider-Man? The Spider-Man's
right
in
here.
there.
Here it is, the John Romita. The Steranko, which is everyone loves. Okay, we've got the Steranko, the Doctor Doom, although somebody put a deposit on it, I have to give it back to him, and the Thor. So you've got 7 altogether of those, plus the Batman, plus these comic books. Do you want to negotiate a quick number here?
Sure.
All right, so we put the posters at 7 times 3 apiece. You're 2,100.
Okay, that's retail.
Okay, yeah, sure. Okay. I raised the Dr. Doom is basically sold at $500.
Okay.
So
well,
nothing in this would go for less than 400. This is the only one that you might sell, and everything else is 5 or 6, and they're in nice shape. Plus, you get the Batman. Okay, I would do on the posters alone for the 7 plus the Batman, you would be talking $2,400.
so you're going to just charge me $300 across the board on posters I can sell for $300.
All right, so then I'll throw this pile in, which is probably $200 to $300 worth of comics for $25.
That's not throwing it in.
Yes, it is. Okay, 24.
That's not throwing it
Come on,
in,
let's
right?
make a quick deal.
I want to do 200 a piece on the posters.
No, not possible. Can't
Why?
do it. It's not happening. I can't.
7 to 1,400.
I'm not making any deal on this. That's not possible.
Well, you're already on your knees. Beg me for a good price.
All right, let's do it. Come on. Almighty Anthony, let us do this. Come on. Oh my gosh! Come on, let's take it
look
here
at her.
quick. All right, here's the number: $2,250, and we're done. And we do check and PayPal. I'm in. Actually, checks.
Okay.
Great.
Deal.
Oh my gosh! Holy grumble! But that means you get the other 3 posters that I've got left.
Yes,
All right.
including the Dr. Doom. Don't stiff me on the Doom.
You get the Doom. Okay, put this away. You got it. We did a Marvel deal, and now we're going to bring on. Da, 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 da. Are you ready, Anthony?
Which one are we going to bring
We're
on?
going to bring on.
That one or that
We're going to
one?
bring our special guest, and then she's going to say hello.
No, let's talk to Mike first.
Okay, we got to talk to Mr. Introduce him.
Mr. Michael Lovitz,
Da, 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 da.
my friend, legendary collector, and a man who does all the legal panels for the show about. Don't tell us about what you do because you can be more articulate.
Because it's on camera, right?
The first thought I had was, where does one go to buy a hero? And luckily, I walked by and I saw you guys. And
Yeah.
oh, hey, we're selling heroes. I'll get one here.
Okay.
So we do and dealing on the street.
You guys are amazing. And people at home, you don't see it, but there's a giant crowd gathered around because you guys are so magnetic. This show is so awesome. It's an incredible pleasure to be on it. So
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
We're here in San Diego, and for the last 25 years. Oh, thanks.
Yeah, there you
here
go.
in San Diego for the last 25 years, I've been doing panels, which I refer to.
25 years.
Yeah, comic book law school.
Okay, so
it's an
about how
opportunity-
to be legal and get your copyrights
Exactly.
and make sure trademarks.
Protect your characters, protect your creations.
Yes.
How to do contracts with people.
Protection.
What do you do if
Uber
Hollywood
protection.
comes and says, "Hey, I want to buy your idea," and all those
How
kinds
to
of
negotiate that and not
Absolutely.
get destroyed on a deal.
things. Yeah, so it's been a lot
That's
of fun.
cool.
We do
And you
3 of
also
those
work.
panels, each
You
year.
also work with some Hall of Fame artists, like you do some of their legal work for them, right?
I do. I work with a lot of creators, both current and past, writers and artists. So, I've done work for Mark Bagley and
Mr. Perez.
Mr. Perez.
George Perez
obviously.
used to come to my comic store. When Teen Titans 3 came out, I remember him going, I did that. I go, excuse me? He goes, yeah, I did that. I'm the artist. Really?
He's
And he
an
was
amazing
right
man.
from Queens, and plus he'd come in and sign autographs for my comic store all the time. He was the coolest dude. We're
George
still
is
friends.
the best. George is the best.
As a matter of fact,
He's
we'll give
such
him a call
fanboy.
later.
Oh, no, absolutely. He's the greatest.
Yeah. He's awesome.
I'm working with Dan Slott right now, who just finished his
Yeah.
multi-year run on Spider-Man, and he's just about to launch Fantastic Four.
As the writer, right? He's the
Dan
writer.
for
Yes.
Big Apple.
right.
Let's hear it for Dan for Big Apple in March.
And Colleen Doran, and doing work with Art Adams.
Oh,
so
great! Yeah.
all kinds of
Yeah, I did a
fun
deal with
creative-
Art yesterday, so that was cool. He's a pleasure to be
I
around and
noticed
to
you
work
guys
with.
are doing a little art business here and there.
Not just a little. We're working on a pretty big deal.
So
All right.
it's a big thing.
Right.
It's a few hundred pieces.
So this is cool, so we can give people your information if they contact us and let them know how to get in touch and how to
Absolutely.
We'll put it up on our website.
That would be great.
And then-
Well, let's talk a little bit more about that paneling the
Sure.
panels you do.
Sure. So for instance, this morning we did a basics. What is a copyright? What is a trademark? what do you do to protect an
How long are your
idea?
panels about?
There's 90-minute panels. It's 3 days. We do on Thursday, Friday,
I couldn't
and
stay for
Saturday.
3 days for a panel.
So Thursday we do the basics. Friday we talk about contracts and dealing with Hollywood and licensing and all those kinds of things.
This is really interesting. Okay.
And then Saturday we'll have a group of speakers who will each talk about different topics, different hot topics, so to speak.
Hello.
And then this afternoon I'm doing moderating a panel
Where
we're
are
talking
you?
about legal issues in the Westworld television series.
I'm right by the Marriott Marquis. Do you see me waving?
Big legal questions that get dropped in that show. So it'll be a lot
okay.
of fun.
You mean going forward in the robot world? as opposed to,
Exactly. You know, if you shoot a host,
Right.
is
okay.
that murder?
Okay.
What if you
These
didn't
are kind
realize?
of what ifs, but we're expanding the idea.
Exactly.
Of the legal
Exactly.
world soon.
Yeah. If you're face to
First
face with,
law office on Mars. First law office on the moon.
I would love that. I would
That's
absolutely
great,
love that.
right?
As a
Okay.
kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. So
really?
yeah, totally.
That'd be a character. That'd be a great character. Let's get you in a spaceship, send you up, and you can plant the flag. First law office.
Exactly.
Lovitz, and Lovitz on the moon.
It'll be perfect.
That'd be great, right? We'll do a little cartoon strip. That'd be awesome. That'd be fun.
That's true. Protecting your rights in Mars. You know,
Yes,
before anyone else lays claim,
Well,
it'll be
nobody
great.
else, we can do the rest of the galaxy. The other 8 planets are fine. There's only 7 now. I think they got rid of one somewhere down
That's
the
right.
line.
We lost Pluto.
We lost
We're
Pluto.
down to 8.
Yeah. There's a good Disney joke in there, but since Disney owns everything, we ain't going to even go there. We'll leave it alone. That's awesome. So, you know, I'd love to talk to you more about your panels later, and
Sure.
maybe you can bring one of those to the Big Apple in March.
I'd love to. I'd
Yeah,
love to
March
do that.
9 and 10. We'll fly in, get you know expense paid weekend in New York, and you'll come in and do some
Who doesn't want an all expense paid weekend in New York? That's always awesome.
good. And I was talking to you a little bit about a character that I had, which we can't say the name yet because it ain't protected.
That's right.
Right?
And it's interesting because a lot of people think, oh, I don't need to worry about protecting my ideas. I can
Not
just-"
true.
And there's so
I
many
know
things
that
that
for
can
a
go
fact.
wrong, and there's a colleague and I who put together a panel, and it's called The High Cost of Doing Nothing. And all of the people who are like, oh, I'll do it later, I'll do it later. I don't have money for it now. I'll take care of it later.
The high cost of doing nothing. Yeah.
And it ends up costing them more than if they had just spent a few $100s at the beginning. And a lot of people also don't realize there are a lot of organizations out in the country where you can get either free or discounted legal service. So for artists in particular who don't have a lot of money,
sure.
you know, I've just graduated college, I've got student loans, I'm paying for an apartment, no one's paying me to do this artwork, but I've created this thing and I want to protect it.
And you'll help people find out about those services
Absolutely.
if they need it, even if they can afford a little bit of yours, or you'll give them advice here and there.
Exactly.
You're also a fan. I can see that, obviously.
Well,
I mean,
I've been collecting since I was 10.
Really?
And
Where did you grow up?
Oh, I know. You remember, we know each other from days when I was a comic book dealer also, back in the 90s.
Oh, really? But you didn't go to
Remember,
church?
I used to work with Nick Barucci. And,
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Vince Gula.
Oh, Vince Gula. He was the guy that started Big Apple with me.
That's right.
Vince Gula, myself, and Vinny Zerzolo.
Yep.
The 3 Gs, the 3 Italian Gs, whatever you want to call us, right?
So yeah, I've been in the business.
My gosh, that's right.
Both as a fan, as a retailer.
So you went to the church basement when we had
You know, I sold out of my business just before then.
Okay.
Just before
those were
then.
good days. Hello, everybody. How you doing out there? All right.
Yeah, those were great days. That was a lot of
Speaking
fun.
of trademarks and stuff, I could swear that the whole character Harley Quinn, came. There was a girl, her name was Apollo Smile, and she was a little anime girl, and she had the pigtails, and she had the cute look and everything. And all the DC guys would be coming to my show and watching Apollo Smile, and there Harley Quinn appeared a few years later in Batman Adventures. I could swear she was an inspiration for that.
You never know, and that happens a lot. You know, understanding the difference between inspiration and theft, those can be close calls. So that's why I love doing these panels, being able to educate people, make sure that they understand what they're doing, and help themselves and help.
You are invited to New York. That's great. All right, it looks like the line is forming. And we have a new arrival straight in from the Learjet.
Thanks, guys.
Mr. Lovitz.
I'll see you later in the show.
Really nice talking to you.
And we'll try to
Okay,
finish up that
that's
show
great.
later.
Okay, we'll get your business card online so anyone that wants it can see. Okay, there you go. Great. Sharona, here you go. Come on down. Say hello. Say hello to everybody out there. How you doing, everybody?
Woo!
Selling Heroes. How much fun are we having at Comic-Con?
Yes.
That's right. Don't stab me, not yet.
Awesome. How's it
Excellent.
going?
It's going great. We're doing business. I sold Anthony some stuff, so everything's good.
My clone is
Hello,
here.
Cameron. How you doing? What's up, kid? Look, they're dressed for California with the sunglasses, straight from New York with the sunglasses, or New Jersey, excuse me,
the plane.
with the sunglasses already. Nice.
That's awesome.
Awesome
The co-hostess
action.
with the mostest showed up. Yay!
Yay!
I can't believe it.
All right, so Sharon, I want to introduce you to somebody.
Here.
Going
go over
on, dun, 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 we have a
there. Over
new
there.
West Coast assistant, Miss Rachie. Come on, Rachie. Dun, 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 dun. Say hello to Rachie. Say hello to Sharon.
Hi,
Okay?
you look
And
amazing.
you know Anthony, we've met already.
Yay.
Okay? You'll be seeing Rachie on the show, on and off. She'll be helping me at comic book conventions. She's amazing, she's super cool, and she looks good too. There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. My friend Andy in real life actually made the costume for me. Check her out on Instagram. She is awesome. Yes, did the wig and everything. So don't tell anyone it's not my real hair, right?
Nice.
Thank you.
Very cool. Thank you so
Man.
Sure, it's a pleasure to meet you.
All right, so you're gonna hang out with us for a few minutes while we do some. So how was the trip? How was the plane ride? Was it good?
much. No bumps,
No
nothing.
bumps, fine.
It was
What
good.
were you up at, like 4 in the morning to get to the
Yes,
airport?
yes.
To get here on time, right?
Just
Excellent.
got off the
Yeah.
plane.
Take some
Excellent,
pictures
excellent,
and
excellent.
take some video with my phone.
So are you here for the length of the show?
Yeah.
Yeah?
We're
Excellent.
here. Yep, we leave Monday.
Okay. Anthony, you want to do another deal?
I want to talk about her outfit. Like
There you go.
some
Okay,
more.
you can do that. That's great. Here, I'll get on the other side of you gals.
All right.
So what kind of Harlequin are you?
I am actually a Sith Harley. So
Oh,
if
Hold on a
you
minute.
Harley.
A Sith Harley.
Yes.
Now, I've heard you say this before. Okay. What exactly is a Sith Harley?
Okay, so if you're a Star Wars
It's a
fan at all,
mashup
Okay,
between
I used to be,
Harlequin and Star Wars Sith.
exactly. So
What is wrong
I'd
with you?
obviously be on the
That
dark
would be
side.
Sid Harley. But
So of course, and I used her pigtails as like a play on Twi'lek. So instead of the big extensions, it would be her pigtails. I thought Suicide Squad colors would go better. Although the red and black is traditional Sith, I thought it would be a fun play and kind of make it a little more interesting. We've got all the cute little things,
Yes,
like her
the
different
details.
tattoos. And then of course, her signature little.
she got a little tail in the back too going on. There you go.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I change it literally every time I do it. I'm like, let's try something else. So I'm still figuring out what my favorite makeup is, but the outfit always stays the same. Thank you so much. It's really fun. And my
So
dad
did you
is
did you pattern your voice off the Harlequin cartoon voice?
You know, I would love to say I did, but actually they probably patterned it off me because
I like
I was
that.
here first. So.
Right? Well, what was that? 1993, actually.
Uh-huh.
What
I'm
year were you born?
1983, so
No
You
way.
do the math. Uh-huh.
Okay, you do the math.
No, you do the math.
No, you do
All
the
right,
math.
all right, I'm stuck. Last one holding the potato.
not
Where's
doing
the
that.
time bomb?
I'm like, yeah, really
Where's the
ask a
time
lady
bomb?
her age.
Have we
yeah.
sold the Action 6 yet? Come on, we need people to call in and
We
tell
need
us
it.
that.
Let's go.
What?
Oh, we had a comic
What's
book that I
happening?
put up for sale.
Right now?
Somebody's gonna buy it.
Somebody's gonna
Oh
buy
yeah,
it?
it's gonna be gone before the weekend's out.
Of course.
Yeah, that's
Do you
right.
collect any comic books?
I do. He actually just gave me a Harley Quinn comic book earlier.
Is he your
What else?
pudding? Is he your pudding?
Well, does he look like my puddin?
He looks like the
could
Joker,
be.
yes.
I mean, if I say it up here and there's another puddin walking around, I'm caught on video. I'm in trouble. What are you trying to do to me?
Well, I'm trying to
I
get you
never kiss
committed.
and tell.
There you
I never
go. Isn't
kiss
that
and
great?
tell. How about that?
I'm trying to get you committed to Arkham Asylum.
Oh, I'm committed, all right.
All right. Fun.
But yeah, we are definitely here all weekend to sell some fun things. We're super excited.
We literally
I
just
collect-
met right on Wednesday, more or less. I had met you once before, but
Yeah.
came to the booth, you started rolling,
Rocking
and
and
we hit it off right away.
Exactly.
So,
And I do. I collect figures. I collect books. I collect graphic novels. I really have a quite extensive collection of the different figures of Harley Quinn, which I love. Some of the pops.
I have a big Harley Quinn doll that I absolutely love. It's gorgeous.
What is that doll tall you gave me, Anthony?
The nice one. It's like
It's
nice
huge
one.
and
Yeah.
realistic. And
it's like
yeah,
15 inches
porcelain
tall.
or something.
Which version is she?
I don't know.
I don't
I
either.
forgot.
But I was
I've got
amazed.
a couple of favorites. Yeah, I actually have to get more shelves from Target, Target, so I can display them all
Hold
because
on a minute.
I've
You have two
gotten
people
so
coming
many
here.
now.
Can I talk to you for a second, sir?
Yeah.
No! They don't even want to talk to me anymore. You, sir.
We're actually doing an interview,
me
Mike.
something.
Can you concentrate on what we are doing?
Okay, we'll work on
What are
it.
you insane?
Yes!
Jesus Christ.
He's committed.
Wow.
Great.
Wow, look at the crowd. And I can't believe that this year they had to shut down the streets, right?
Yes,
Yeah, they
did.
shut down this
That's
street.
why we're out here.
I'm
the
actually
first
not
time
sure why.
They've-
That's why we're out here.
Well, I like it. It's kind of
Yeah.
it's kind of cool.
Well, we
More
didn't
relaxing.
want
I thought-
any loitering is
But-
the thing. So a lot of people will hang out in front if they don't pay for badges. And so unfortunately for some of my friends, they cut it all off, so you have to be kind of far away on the other side of the street if you want to just come and kind of partake. But luckily for me, I got badge!
Mike has badges.
I got lots of badges.
We need some stinking badges.
So-
I need my badges. Where are my badges?
Oh yeah, I gotta go
I
get
just
it.
Part of
got
what
here.
we
I
do is
actually-
literally the buying and
I don't
selling
have
of
a
this
badge.
traveling around. So Anthony, we're going to be expanding the concept of the show right now going forward. Starting from this episode on, we're going to be integrating what we're going to be doing on the road. When
Sure.
we get back to the studio, I believe next week's will be an interview that we did in Las Vegas last week with John Dolmayan.
Dolmayan?
Right?
Yay, we got
Our
a
pal,
It's-
whom we're going to see tonight. And
Yeah.
you're invited if you want to go. He's playing live at the House of Blues.
Right?
Yep, he's a rock and roll
VIP
concert.
only.
Come
though.
on down.
wanna
You have to have a badge. I got a badge
But
for
we're going
you.
to be integrating our episodes of buying and selling on the road. Okay, things that we buy, things that we want, people that we see, collections that we go to, which is what I've always wanted to do. And here we go. We're
right.
now going to be hosting our own reality show about the stuff that we're realizing value for. So this is basically the idea. Now you've been on the road a little bit, right?
Yeah,
Where
I've
were
been
you
on the
before
road
that?
8 days, 9 days already.
9
So, yep, we done Phoenix, Las Vegas with John O'Mayan. We have an hour-long interview with him that we might go to after this show. What did you decide,
And then-
Mr. Producer Man?
And then we
All
didn't
right,
even.
well, what? No, they're going to go to the interview that we did
Oh,
with John.
that's
so
great.
there's like
Doing that today afterwards?
Yeah, after we go.
Oh, you
from
want to
live.
see this?
All
It's
right.
really, really
So,
cool.
That's amazing because he's got the most detailed, beautiful comic book store in the world.
Yeah,
that I've ever
Torpedo Comics
seen.
in Las Vegas.
You know, he said he took his System of the Down money and made a fantastic, most
Yeah.
beautiful comic book store you ever saw because he has the love of this stuff.
It really
and
is
we're
gorgeous.
Going to see the origin of John Dalmanian.
Dalmayans.
Dalmayan. It's Dole,
Oh,
like
Dalmatian,
the fruit,
Dalmayan,
and Mayan, like the
Dalmanian,
people.
it's all good.
So we're going to see his origin and how he has the love of comics and how he basically started out wheeling and dealing in comics and how he learned how to, business and how to do it with comic books. And then he became a musician, then he became a very successful musician, and now he's settling in, has one of the best comic book businesses in all of Comic-Con and the best store I've ever seen.
Well, almost the best. I think he saw me and said, if he can do it, I can do it. So there you go. Part of the deal.
He's got a business built in giant speaker cases that are customized, and you got a
Pretty
pile
cool.
of stuff that I can't even see the forest for the
has-
But you buy it all.
Actual vault.
But also he also ran a show. We had a show this weekend, which we ran to on Sunday. It's like the preliminary. It's like the kickoff, the starter show
Yes.
for this convention,
That's
which was
right.
great. All the top dealers, like 30 to 40 of the dealers, the biggest dealers.
Well, I think there was more
You
than
had
100
like half
tables.
the room in the art section.
Well, I had 15 tables in the art section.
Yeah.
And I've been doing a pop-up store in LA the Sunday before San Diego for a few years now, probably 6
Who
or
knows?
7
We
years
may be
now.
doing it in New York
No,
going
6 or
forward.
7 years
Pop
now.
up New York.
So it evolved. They saw that I was doing well. I was kind of bragging about, yeah, I did great. I threw my stuff out on the sidewalk. I had 3 customers, and I did such and such money. But so now there's an organized show in LA the Sunday before with there was probably 200 tables.
200. There was over 1,000 people.
Yeah.
And
No,
they-
there wasn't that. They got like
They were
500
real
people.
serious. No,
But,
no.
yeah, no, there was
More than
500.
that.
There was like 450 I asked. But Steve Wyatt actually helped out with that. I spent some money with
Okay.
him. on a
But these
beautiful
were all
Boris
serious
painting.
collectors. Everyone was there.
I got a beautiful Boris painting from it was Steve Wyatt yesterday morning.
I did some great business at the show.
Yeah.
I sold
What's
some
a
super cool
Boris
stuff.
painting?
Boris is the painter. He works in oils, and so it's this giant T-Rex book cover. It looks like The Land
a
of Time
T-Rex?
Forgot. Yeah. Oh my God, you're gonna love it. You're not
I
gonna
know
want
I'm
me
gonna
to sell
love
it.
it. I mean, look at you've got your.
Yes, I have the T-Rex.
As the
I am a
logo,
T-Rex of dealers. I think I'm a T-Rex.
And I might be traveling around working pretty close to one of the other major comic book dealers, which will remain nameless for now, doing some buying across the country. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Well,
So-
anything that gets you on the road and active and busy is a good thing, because if you're not busy enough, it's trouble for all of us. Yeah, that's true
Pent
though.
up
You have
energy.
to
Hey
admit.
man, what's up? How you doing? Where are you from? Get over here. I got you. I need the hook. Okay, tell me, what city are you from?
I am from San Francisco, California.
Yes, my third favorite city.
Let's go,
New
man.
York, London, then San Francisco. There you go. San Diego's okay, but it's in the bottom 10.
That's fine, man. That's
Excellent.
Comic-Con, so
Did you
outside
just
is
fly
good.
in this morning? Drove in yesterday. And who are you? Really? Older sister. What do you... Worst sister in the world, he says. There you go. Worst brother in the world, too, to go with that. There you go. At least it's compatible.
Are you guys
Right?
having a good time?
Did you just get inside yet? Really? What do you collect? Marvel, DC?
I'm bandwagon.
No, come on, big
So-
one. Marvel, DC.
Marvel.
Yay! It's a marvelous world today. Won't say sorry. Sorry, Harley. Excellent. I'll come by our booth and we'll get you some free. Oh, by the way, we're going to have George Lazenby, James Bond at our booth, my booth, 529. Anthony will be there. Harley will be there. Sharon will be there. And you get a free autograph if you come by. What's your first name? David. Rebecca from San
David and
Francisco
Rebecca
Collectors.
from San
Excellent.
Francisco.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for
See you
stopping.
later. Yeah, George Lazenby, the second James Bond, which I think is one of the greatest James Bond movies that ever was.
Well, I love
And never will
that.
be.
I mean, On His Majesty's Secret Service is probably one of my favorites.
OHMSS.
Oh, On His Majesty's Secret
There
Service.
you go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so George, I mean, we did an interview with George before where he talked about his on-set behavior and such.
Yes.
Very, you know, kind of a PG-13 conversation, but it was fun stories. So maybe we can
We
revisit
can do
that
another interview
conversation.
with George Shore, positively, and you can do the interview
All right.
if you like. Okay.
I don't know if the
Maybe
girls
you and
can do
Harley
it.
can do the interview. Or you, Harley, and Sharon can do the interview, and I'll watch. How's that? Speaking of James Bond, I'm going to show you. Here's a deal, a quick deal we can do.
Got it.
So there's James Bond merchandise galore, okay? I mean, basically, if you start with Dr. No, it's really the movie stuff. Because no one had any idea that James Bond would be the amazing character, American, integrated, everyone wants to be like him, movie star and movie that it was. So, anyhow,
You always
they've
gotta
started
push
to make the
towards
cards.
the camera.
They started to make the cards, and these are not sport
I need
cards.
to hog the camera.
They have all three movies. First, Dr. No for Rush is a complete set of James Bond cards. $100 for the set. You're at $22.50.
Those are cool.
I don't even know these.
Yo,
Which
these
one
are
is
great,
this?
black and white. And then there was one set for Thunderball that
This
came out
is the
after.
Thunderball set
Nope,
or no?
that's the fourth. That's the second set. This is the first one. Dr. No from Russia will have Goldfinger. All three sets.
This is a nice
All
set.
three, yeah,
Nice condition.
66 cards. The whole thing for $100. $22.50 since you spent the others.
Is it a complete
Complete
set?
set, guaranteed.
Where's number one?
Oh, it's in there. That's the Bond with the hat.
Oh, man.
I can show you right
There's
away.
Okay.
Promise it's there. There you go, Bond with the hat.
Bound with the hat.
He's got the little. He's got a little funny hat on. There you go.
Bowler?
Bond with the
There
hat.
he
It's kind of a
is.
bowler,
The
yeah.
bowler. There it is.
Yeah.
Number
so
one.
That's the Mr. Connery
Dun, dun,
version.
dun, dun.
In
And
his
always the
prime.
number one in the last car. Okay, we in? $100? Quick James Bond deal.
All right. Well,
$100.
my nephew's name's James Bond, so I have
I
to
got
go
a
with
soft spot. Yes. Okay, $23.50. Harley, thank you. Excellent. All right, Anthony, you were going to show us some art or something, I think?
Yeah,
I don't
wanted-
have the money gun today.
Yeah, the money gun. We
I was
promised the
worried.
money gun will be back. I promise
Yeah,
because
it
I
would
need
have
the
been
money gun.
confiscated
Because
from
I got to
my
pay
bag.
checks now, and we prefer the money gun.
It
So there you go.
looked
His
like
checks
this
are
on the X-ray.
100% good. I've been doing business with Anthony for 20 years. Never
20
ever
years?
had. Plus?
91, dude.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well there you go.
27 years.
It's always been, but the money gun is more fun.
Yep. Well, one of fan favorites that I always look forward to meeting with is Mike Mignola, and this is a
Do you
piece
know
I got
Mike
from him
Artist
at
for
the
Hellboy.
show. And this is the
Seen
artist that
Hellboy
actually.
movies?
Can I talk?
Yeah, anytime now.
Okay.
We'll let you go.
Let me tell him about this one because he actually did. Who's got a program?
Program!
Hey, program here.
Program! Get your program!
Anyway, they did. They used the Hellboy
Very
image
nice.
by Mike Mignola for the program
I
to the
remember that
entire
one.
time.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Was it 2007?
No, this is a Hellboy in Hell cover.
This
This
nice.
was the swan song to Hellboy.
So
he
you-
actually killed off the character.
You own this and this is for sale?
Yes, it's $10,000.
Wow, look at the intricacy of this art.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow. Sharon, you want to
Yeah,
show
I
this a
know.
little
I don't
closer?
know.
So here's some other Mignola stuff I got. Really cool, like a dinosaur guy. Oh, you gotta see Sharon's nails. She just got Comic-Con nails.
Comic-Con nails? What does it say?
Dragon cover.
Comic-Con?
No.
It's got the eyeballs. Can you
Doesn't
see
say
it?
Comic-Con.
It's got the
Speaking of eyeballs.
Okay, we need someone doing nails at the Big Apple. Say
at this.
Big Apple nails. Okay, remember
Speaking
that?
of
Write
cool
that down. Let's
eyeballs.
go. You ready? Okay.
Big Praying Mantis cover
I
by
love praying mantises.
by Monster Variant BRPD 1948. So I got a bunch of new Mignola stuff. We did a bunch of business, probably about, I don't know, over $20,000 worth of
the shoulder.
business. So that's cool. And I actually sold him a piece in the deal, a San Julian Universal Monster painting that he loved. So he had to love it to take it. So
And you're going to talk to him about coming to Big Apple because I'm sure I scare him.
yeah.
But I will get him tickets for any Broadway play he wants to go and sing.
Yep,
That's nice.
I told him that, but I
There
don't
you
know
go.
if that convinced him.
Oh, well. Okay, what can you do?
Keep working.
I'll try.
All right,
Keep
here's a
working
couple
at it.
other pieces I got from a Hall of Famer, Art Adams. This is cool. These are two published covers.
You want to take care of these? Hold the microphone. Great. Nice.
I can see this.
And these
Yeah,
are published covers. Published in what?
yeah. This is X-Men Blue 14, and this is X-Men
So
Blue
these are Marvel
21.
covers.
Yes, these are published Marvel covers. These are beautiful. So this is, Venom's super hot right now. So, yeah. And this is a
Look at
big.
this insane cover.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it? It's
is
kind of like a
nuts.
horror
Look at
hero
that.
cover.
It
I
almost
always
has a
love
little bit of
that.
a Joker feel to it in there too, even though it's Marvel.
Wow.
There you go. He's been distracted by the colors
Yeah.
that drive flying by.
Wow.
There you go. Hello, everybody. How you doing? Selling heroes.
Where are you from, young lady? Come on in.
Come on, say hello. Okay.
No, she's shy. Where are you from? Oregon. Yeah, people
Oregon.
from Oregon are very shy. I've
You
heard
like
that.
that? How much is this, Anthony? How much do those go
Oh,
for?
this is like 10,000.
Hi, guys. Say hello. We know who this is. Your friends? Do we know? Hello, guys. Oh, it's cotton candy. No, I'm only kidding. There you go. I love it. Nice. Hi, guys. How you doing? My name is Mike. What's your name? Kaylin?
Kayla and Anaya.
Naya. What's your name?
Turn around and tell the class.
Excellent.
You guys are
Nice,
awesome.
guys. Enjoy the show. Cheers. Peace and love. And comic books. Hey, man, what's up? Excellent. Yeehaw! All right. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, the show literally just really
Tell me
began
about
today.
this, Mike.
Oh, man, this is the deal I did with Anthony today. This is a super piece. This is an original opening scene from the Marvel cartoons from 1966, and this was Lawrence Grand Tree Productions, as in Bob Lawrence, who was a friend of mine in the 90s and early 2000s, used to come to all the comic shows.
Yeah, I used
Sell
to
us all
love to see
kinds of-
Bob. He was such
some
a
all kinds of
sweetheart.
cool stuff, and this has been in my archives for a number of years. A number
Okay,
of
bye,
years, and I
Oregon.
finally opened it up.
Bye, thanks for
and
coming
then
by.
this is another from the Mary here. Anthony, hold that before I ruin it after you've already bought it from me. And this is the Mary Marvel Marching Society, which is what the MMS stands for. And this is one of the kits. I kept the button on the kit. I sold him everything but the button. I still
And now
have
you
it.
lost the button.
No, I'll bring the button tomorrow. I didn't
Show
wear
him
it
the
today.
most important piece.
Here
there.
it is. Now, it's at the bottom of the barrel. It's the pencil.
It's
This
the
little
pencil.
golf pencil, but the golf pencil says, "Make mine Marvel."
And this is
Here,
the
we'll hold that and show
Mary
it to the camera. It'll be great.
Mary Marvel Marching Society.
Yes.
Yes.
And of course, March 9th and 10th of next year, which we're going to be building up to a crescendo, you will not be able to resist. Which is the same weekend as Big Apple, same weekend that Captain Marvel, the Marvel movie, opens in New York City. And we'll be doing giveaways and busloads of people will be trucking to the premiere and to the movies and everything else. So it's gonna rock. This is awesome stuff. I mean, I used to hate selling all my Marvel stuff. Now I'm just, it's all going. It's all going to Anthony's
It's all a purge.
marvelous art.
And I'm going to archive it.
The last purge.
Pencil.
Oh, the pencil. See, you already lost the
They
pencil.
have the pencil.
Look at
Losing
that
the butt,
beautiful
losing the
unused pencil. Can you get a
Ooh,
close-up of
imagine
that?
that, $200, $100 to $200 for a little pencil. There you go.
These are very
Incredible.
rare. They always fell out. They always got used and
Ain't
thrown
the
away.
size of the ship,
So
the motion
never
of the
used.
ocean, as they say.
There you go.
Far
Never
out.
used.
Yeah, man. I
Which
mean,
you
there's
can't
so
say
much
for
stuff
Mike.
in the room.
my
I haven't even gotten into half the stuff going on in the room. So after this, Anthony, okay, which barely, I mean, we're just started, so we're up at like, I barely got to sleep at midnight, up at 6 a.m. every day for the next, now we're still 3.5 days away.
Honestly, I woke up
Till the
throwing
end of
up
this.
this morning, just
There
out
you
of
go.
stress and, you know, getting things together and all. But I did an amazingly huge deal today with the owner of Heritage. Maybe we can have him on if he's not too busy.
That would be really good.
So Mr. Halprin actually made my show.
Excellent.
Oh, wow, already?
Great,
Yeah.
great.
He took away a pile of stuff like this. He had to carry it
Oh,
to his
wow.
hotel room.
So-
I'm sure he was happy to do
No
that.
more-
You know,
no
it's
more
amazing.
barfing.
The guy,
Yeah,
the guy
no more
is-
barfing.
No more barfing.
He's super wealthy, but you know he still loves coming to the shows, taking a pile of stuff and walking away. And he has as much
Yeah,
satisfaction from that as any giant transaction.
I
You
think
know, that's part
I
of
mean-
the deal, right?
Mr. Halpern gets it in a way that he's giving back. You know, we give him business, and then he gives it back, and he's being, you know, he said himself, he's being reciprocal. And, you know, he's supporting the marketplace by walking through that room and spending money with all of
Yeah.
the dealers and the art guys. I don't know if he got down to the other side because I'm on one side. And he likes to spend money in the comics. His son Mikey,
Right.
you know, he's grooming for the business. He loves that stuff. He loves the pre-code horror stuff. He's a special fan
And
of
you
that.
sold him a really rare
Yeah.
bound
And
volume
we
that
were-
you and I owned together.
Right. We shot this. We actually shot it, which we might show at a later date on all these transactions because we're going to have probably 100 transactions to show you along the way,
And
we'll
again,
we'll edit in
Anything you
Adam
see,
will edit in.
art, comics, things, whether
Oh
he
my
buys
God.
it from me or he hasn't bought it from me yet, you can buy it on this show from us because we're just here to. We are the curators of the stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean,
someone else can
and
own
the
it for a
shakers.
while.
We're here to find the right home for all the stuff you see here, folks. So anything you like, we're gonna, we'll make available to you from my website, from Mike's, traveling roadshow.
All right. So because we're here at the Comic Con, we're doing, instead of usually doing an hour and a half, we're doing an hour today. We're almost at the odds end for this. Hello, everybody! Yeah, it's
Say
here at the Comic Con. Excellent.
Comic-Con!
Anybody from New York? Anybody from New York? Where in New York are you from? Brooklyn! Yeah! Nice.
Everybody, where are you from? All right.
They're all over the place. It's amazing. So we're cutting it to an hour today, but we're going forward. What have we got coming up? We've got the John Dolmayan interview coming
Yes.
afterwards today.
Right.
So stay
we're
tuned
going
for
to
that.
go to the interview in his show, in his store, and that's going to be amazing because we had a great, intelligent conversation with somebody, and you actually let him talk and finish his
How about
sentences.
that?
No, that was amazing. I got to applaud you for that.
Thank you.
Yes. So we're going to see the love that he has for comics and how it really formed his business sense, and that he took that business sense into the music world and made his fortune.
And then next week we're not going to be in the studio, but we're going to be showing all of our deals and transactions from the LA
Yeah.
show to on the road, the things that we've been
Very
doing, the footage from
exciting
this.
stuff.
But we'll be back in the studio in 2 weeks, and we
Right,
haven't
2
came up
weeks.
with the exact theme for that yet, but it's going to be rocking.
Well, it's going to
Okay?
be more, from our tales from the road, and being at the biggest show in the world at San Diego Comic-Con.
I'm actually going on a baseball transaction. I'm going to the National Baseball, but I'm going on baseball to pick up two Mickey Mantle rookies and two 1952 Topps rookies, two
Nice.
Bowman rookies and two 52 Topps, which I'm
Wow.
really excited to buy those, and then we'll have them on the show, and you can buy them there. I hope, unless they sell them first before then.
And that's Mike
You might
Carbo at
get a better
Gmail.
price.
Mike Carbo at Gmail, Anthony at Anthony Snyder. right? And, yeah, but if you can contact us through, you can talk Rachel through my cardboard Gmail, but we'll be getting out her email because she's got a lot of followers. We want all her followers to be our followers.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Wait, didn't you say you had a certain number you were looking for? Can we tell them?
I'm hoping to hit 11K by the end of this weekend.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And how many followers do you have now?
So follow me on Instagram at Faces by Rachie, like your face by Rachie, R-E-C-H-I-E. And I'm at, I think it's 10.7 right now.
10.7, so 300. Come on, 300. And we need the selling heroes. And this will be, she'll be on our show going forward, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So we want you all to engage. And bottom line, we want you to tell us what you've got, collections, sell us some stuff, let us help you sell it, buy it from us, whatever it is.
I like to say no free appraisals, but you know,
You can't do it. You got to give them an
you.
appraisal.
Yeah, we'll get.
So we're packed and stacked and ready to go. I got phone calls galore with deals waiting for me at the show. I'm rolling back. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for popping in time, Sharon. Peace. Peace. Comic Jagger. That's great. I like it. Nice guys. Where are you guys from? Brazil, man. Brazil. Awesome. And on that note, from North America to South America to wherever you are out there, we're going to say goodbye live from
The San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah. Let's
This
rock
has
it,
been Selling
everybody.
Heroes. We've been live for an hour and live streaming, and thank you so much for joining us. And now we're going to go to the John Dalmanian.
Anything like that works.
Dalmatian, Dalmanian. You know, we're going to be at his live show at the House of Blues at San Diego Comic-Con, and we're going to go to that interview now. And thanks for joining us.
Bye, everybody. Thank
See you later. Here we are, a day in the life of a comic store owner.
That's right.
A day in the
life.
of a rock star comic book owner.
So I live here in Las Vegas, as you know, and my comic book store is here in Las Vegas, Torpedo Comics. But I also have to be
Tell the camera who you are.
Oh, hi. I forgot about that. I'm John Dolman, and I own Torpedo Comics.
Yeah.
Right?
Zoom.
That's right. Zoom. Pow.
Dalmanian.
Dolman. Dole.
Oh my God.
Like the pineapple.
All right.
All right, anyway, so
Pronouncing it wrong.
that's okay. You've only known me 25 years.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Wild.
Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know you went that far back in comics. Like, tell us like how you got started in comics.
But wait, I want to hear about his day first.
Okay,
Do the
well,
day.
Well, we can go over both at the same time if you want.
fine.
I'll just segue
Sure.
over. So anyway, I was in LA for some business, and I drove to LA, but I wanted to fly back to be in time for earlier, which didn't work out.
Well, thank you for trying. We really appreciate that, and we really appreciate you hosting us today. Thank you very much.
I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to have you here, as a matter of
That's
fact.
awesome.
So anyway, what I didn't realize is in my backpack,
Oh my God, yeah,
I
I heard
had
this.
5 30-round mags.
You had 5 30-round mags.
Yeah, AR-15 mags.
226
in my
or
backpack.
557?
I don't know.
Heavy or light?
I don't even have the gun yet. I ordered the mags first. Anyway, so I go
Oh, they're
to-
empty though, right?
They're empty.
Oh, thank
Brand
God.
new in the package.
Or else you'd be in jail right now.
So I've never been in jail for anything. I've never been arrested. I have no criminal record. You know, kind of a boring life actually, outside of the music and the comics and all that stuff.
Instead of
rock
jumping on
star,
stage.
Right.
touring the world.
That's right.
The
Doing all
rock
that
and roll.
stuff, you know, otherwise very boring. So
Okay.
anyway,
You strive for
so they're
boringness.
going through, I'm waiting to go through, you know, the TSA checkpoint, and all of a sudden there's like 4 TSA agents looking like, you ever seen ants? Kind of
Yeah.
when you disrupt
Oh,
an
God.
anthill? And I'm like, wow, somebody's about to get, you know, messed with over here. I go, glad that's not me. And then they take my backpack off. I go, looks like it's me, right?
Oh, no.
So they take the backpack over, and the TSA guy calls the cops, the police. Oh, man. So I'm like, what's going on here? You know, is this like a practical joke or something? If somebody's playing a joke on me, I thought maybe you guys were.
Damn, wouldn't show up. Get him arrested.
I told you to bring your cameras to the airport.
Right. So this is at 11 a.m. You know, so they start asking me, hey, is there anything in this backpack that we should know about? I go, no, but you're welcome to search it. You know, because again, I got nothing.
You forgot.
So now that I start seeing them pull out these 30-round mags, right? And I'm like, oh shit, I forgot those were in there.
But it's just the metal.
It's the clip,
The magazine.
basically.
So that's not
bullet
illegal.
holder.
It is illegal in California. because they're high capacity.
Yeah, they're high capacity if you have over like 5 or 6 or something like that.
So in California, you can't have them, right? Unless you're law enforcement, which I'm not.
You have to be very specially licensed.
Right. So I realized that today, and the hard way. Again, I have no criminal record. They took my ID. They go, did you? I bought them here. I was going to take them to my house here in Vegas. I put them in my backpack. I forgot. I ended up going to L.A., driving to L.A. Now I'm flying back here to see you guys, like I said before. So it was just a pure, honest mistake. But again, it's on me.
They held you back from your flight and stuff?
Not exactly. I think I'm lucky I wasn't arrested, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you are.
So they take my ID, they see I have a spotless record, they come back, they say, look, you have a spotless record, it's clearly, they're still in the package, they're not open, you obviously had no intent, but the law's the law. And I go, you know what, the law's the law, whatever you need to do, you do it. So they went back with the sergeant, back and forth. They came back, maybe they took pity on me, but they said, look, you got to take them out of the airport and you got to take it back to the front and put it with your luggage. And I said, well, here's the bad news. I have no luggage. That backpack represents my luggage. I live in Vegas. Let's just say we worked it out, and everything's good.
Away so quick.
So now I get back into the terminal and my flight gets canceled.
Oh
man.
And tomorrow's Friday the 13th, not today, right? Today's Friday, Friday
Well,
the
you
12th.
got your bad luck
So
out
you
of the
ended up
way.
getting catching a later flight, or
No flight. I drove.
Oh, that's how you,
I just got in my car and I drove back.
after all that. That's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Wow.
I
Thanks for
basically
trying.
wasted 4 hours at the airport,
So we owe you 4 hours essentially. It's really our fault. If you want to think about it.
Well, no, it's my fault because I said, let me take a flight, it'll be quicker, when I know that it's never quicker taking a flight. Especially from LA to Vegas. It's a 3.5-hour drive, 82 miles, the cops won't even pull you over.
Wow.
So
all right.
back to comic
Back to
collecting.
comic
right?
book
We'll
collecting.
segue from that.
Which is the nice part of which is why we like comic books, because it's a different world.
It is a completely different world.
And
I
even
remember-
the bad parts of the comic book world.
Now, I've known you for well over 20 years. I bought from you back in the day, and then we bought and sold all these years. But the first time I walked into a comic book store, I was about 12, maybe 13 years old. And a friend and I used to go every week to a movie on Saturday. And we'd have like a $5 allowance, and we'd go to the theater and see a movie, play some video games, eat lunch, and then that was our Saturday. And then one Saturday, there was really nothing that was playing that we hadn't seen at least once. So he said, hey, there's
Saturday.
That's every Saturday.
Mike sneaking in the movies.
So we said, okay, well, what are we going to do? And he just said, look, why don't we go to the comic book store? And I said, what's a comic book store? Because I'd seen comics at like 7-Eleven.
Is this
gotta get
in
a bundle.
America?
What's a comic book store?
California.
Oh, California.
What's a comic book store?
What's a comic book store? I didn't know.
That's a good
So he said, well, why don't we just go and you'll find out, So we walked the 15 or 20 minutes it took to get to the comic book store. And I walked in, and it was just like, comics on the wall, posters. They had like a big...
Oh, this is 80s, no?
This is 80s.
Oh, this is when I had my
Early
comic
80s.
store. Yeah, posters.
It wasn't your
and
comic
little-
store, Mike. Not everything's about you.
But that kind of stuff, the posters and little stickers and all those
Buttons.
things. Yeah, everything was
They had
merchandise,
like the
but
20,
it was like
25-cent bins.
right in front of you.
Yes. Then he had a whole wall of back issues that were basically on cinder blocks and wood, stacked up to the ceiling. And it was like just
Is this
stacks
in
of
LA?
comics. This is in L.A.
Cherokee Comics?
Passport Comics on
Oh
Victory.
man, I remember Cherokee back in the day. when
Cherokee
we
was
would be
real
in
old.
and they had just wooden shelves
Right.
and the comics, no plastic, no bags, all that.
I actually ran
place-
over there after an earthquake that happened because I was like, oh, my
really?
comic stores.
That
and it
place
was
had
fine.
the stuff.
Yeah,
Cherokee.
it did.
Oh my God,
I remember
yeah.
my dad taking me there when I was a little kid and said, "Let's buy all the Conan ones because they're going to make a movie." And that's
Passport
smart.
comics.
yeah, and it's still we're
Smart.
still reacting to that today.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. That's a smart move,
Yeah.
right? So anyway, I walked into this comic book store and I was mesmerized, and that was it. I spent my $5 on like 25-cent books. I took them home. Savage Sword of Conan was one of them. I actually owned the cover,
Right.
which I'll show you.
Saw
Jusko,
the cover.
yeah,
the
Joe
Jusko cover.
Jusko, the first one. I see it. Yeah.
And then
The
that
throne one where he's on the
that's
throne?
the one. Yeah, we'll show it to you in a
So
sec.
that's like your first comic ever that
That
you
was
really
in that
remember?
pile of comics,
Okay,
right?
cool.
And that's a
That's so
magazine
cool.
technically, but I didn't know the difference.
So what?
I saw girls on the cover and I was like, oh, I'll buy that.
Yeah, I love
and
how
I'll buy
he-
that Fantastic Four and that X-Men and
Right.
Batman. And then that was really it. From that point forward, I went to that comic book store every single week, and I asked my dad for an allowance raise. He raised me up to $10, so I was able to buy a little bit more books. And then one day, when I was a little bit older, I just couldn't afford the books anymore. I had a job. My dad wasn't going to give me money to buy comics, and I was embarrassed to ask him for money to buy comics. So I couldn't afford the new issues, and my stock was building up. You know, you have like a pull box and all that stuff, and it was getting up to $100, and that was a lot of money back then. You know.
So what was the cover price of the books when you were right at that
35?
No,
35 cents?
50?
Oh,
No,
really?
50
A little
cents.
less,
in that
75
range.
cents. They were starting to get
It was in that range.
$1.
Yeah, because you know,
It wasn't cheap.
20 cents, 25 cents. I remember the day they raised it to 25 cents. It just blew my mind. It totally screwed my budget.
No, it must have been about a buck.
Early
75 cents.
75
I
cents
think
a buck,
actually it
early
was
80s.
75 cents.
a buck. Yeah, easy to calculate for gemstone.
Yeah, it's true. Now it's a little tougher.
50%.
$3.99.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, I said, okay, I'm going to have to sell some comics so I can buy my new comics. And we had something called the Recycler, which was basically like Craigslist, but it was a paper that came out weekly, and they allowed you to put 2 free ads. So I put one ad selling comics and another ad selling comics. And people would come to my garage and buy comics. And that's how it started. And then I found out about conventions, because I was so loyal to my comic book store that I wouldn't even think about going to a convention, with the exception of San Diego Comic-Con.
When did
once
you
a year.
start buying like to buy a collection? You remember the first killer collection you bought, or how did somebody approach you with a collection? Or
Well, I think like most retailers and dealers, I started with my own collection.
Yeah,
You
sure.
know, I put the stuff up for sale, priced it at what I thought was fair according to the guide, and bought and sold books on a very small scale, mostly sold. You know, and then somebody had Giant Size X-Men 1.
Yeah.
There it is again. My favorite. That's the book of the day. It looks like we've been talking about that.
Which I never had up to that point, and they had an X-Men 94. And they wanted $200 for both books.
Ooh, that's.
And I was like, $200?
Wow.
The most expensive book on my wall was like $10.
Your other guy working here, Will, I think, right? That's his favorite book. Your favorite
My
book.
favorite book?
Yeah.
Your earliest memory.
I did have an FF48, a really nice clean copy signed by Jack Kirby.
Oh, nice.
Which I picked up for like a couple of bucks somewhere.
Yeah.
Nice copy, like a VF copy. You know, something that would be worth several thousand.
Did you have him sign it yourself?
No,
or,
I bought it.
It was
signed.
bought it signed.
So it was either him or his wife. Who knows? You know?
Yeah, right.
I know his wife signed a lot of books.
Yeah.
But he wanted like a ridiculous amount of money for me to spend on 2 books.
Oh, yeah.
But I said, okay,
That
you know
was
what? I'm going
strong.
to take a risk, and I bought them, and I sold both of the books within a week, and that was it.
For a profit.
That's it.
For a profit.
That's the deal.
I think I made
That's the
50
kicker.
bucks.
Yeah, well,
I made
if you made
50 bucks.
like
Anything. A
100
profit
to
is a profit.
125, you know, that was good money.
Yeah.
That was good money.
And then I remember seeing Mike a couple of years later at shows like the Shrine in LA.
Oh, wow,
right?
yeah. He used to.
And he would buy a book in the room for like $600 and sell it to me for $650.
Yeah.
Right? Like 10 minutes
He
later.
taught me
I
that too.
did that today. I went to a store while we were here. I went to the Wax Packs, bought something for $300 and sold Anthony for $4.25.
Yeah, and that's it. That I learned
hour
from
later.
Mike and
Yeah.
people like Virgil, who was to me a very good friend and mentor. Later on, I met guys on the East Coast, guys from Chicago, Jamie, Vinny, all these different guys in this industry, and I learned a little bit from each of them. Some guys I learned how not to do business.
Yeah.
And those lessons are very important as well. But I learned the nuances of comic collecting and buying. And now we're all competitors, but we're all friends. We share the same collecting, the same hobby, the same selling.
Yeah,
So
if
we're
you
going
have
after
that
a lot of the
passion,
same collections.
The passionless people, I can't be friends with.
passionless
Yeah, I mean, all your guys that work here, we did the show with them earlier today, and they have the passion. They absolutely
you
have
guys
the
were
love,
great.
and that's the indispensable part of this for me. I mean, Mike started me in this business. I met Mike through an acting teacher that we did an acting project.
And
I'm
not responsible.
No, well, I give you all credit where credit is due. It's like the first show I ever went to.
Pay me.
He paid me $100 a day, which was strong back then.
I think I'm still paying that.
That's
I've
it.
never gone up or down. It's
I
always
know,
been
but this
$100 a day. So the last 20 years, I got these girls coming to San Diego.
And stealing
and they'll
your
be $100
cash
a
box.
day.
No, but that was like '94 or something. Like the
Yeah.
Javits. What was that last?
Yeah, well, we
Javits?
met in the subway.
No,
Doing
yeah,
the
the
cherry
acting.
bombs.
The acting.
Smoke bombs in the subway doing a Secret Agent
He was
X.
at Tribeca Film Festival, and my acting teacher that I was doing scene study with at the time says, "Hey, I'm in this film class. This guy's got a part for you that I think you're perfect for, but I must warn you, he's absolutely fucking nuts."
Yes. Yes.
That's what Leonard said about you, my acting coach. And this guy was coaching and being a dialogue coach for like Cindy Crawford, and it was something in the in the city, and. But Mike, at that show, going back to what you said about, I remember you buying like a Daredevil 1 for $100 and selling it the next minute for $105.
110, 120.
No, it was $105.
I just did it today. I just did it. I sold you the Famous Funnies, a Frank Frazetta book, which he's got.
And I was
Look
like,
at
Hey,
what is that, Mike?
It's
And
an
you're
interesting.
like,
that's
it's an
the
interesting
fun
philosophy,
cash flow.
but think about it.
It's cash flow.
That keeps
If you
me
put
going.
if you put that $100 in the bank for a year, you wouldn't make that $5.
Not today. Not in today's
not
economy.
in most days,
Yeah.
right?
Well-
except when the interest rates were
Yeah.
like 16% for a
Yeah,
house.
yeah,
Then you were making more, and
yeah.
nobody was buying anything.
Right.
They were just putting their money in the
But
bank.
that was
if they were
cash
smart.
flow. And he taught me that too. And
But again, the point is, we all go after these collections. Some of us are luckier than others, but the point is that we love what we do. We love the books. We love the original art. We love the stories behind the collections.
the
The Mile
artists
High collection, the
Oh
story
man,
behind
we just
that.
had Chuck
you know.
Rosansky on the
Yeah.
show last week.
Right.
He told
Telling
us
us
all
the
stuff I
history
had
of the
no
Mile High.
idea.
It's a movie, in my opinion.
It's great.
You know? But there's
Yeah.
a lot of those
We
stories
really
out there.
should do something with Chuck about that.
Yeah, I mean, the Mile High one is the most famous, but there's 1,000 of those stories where people, sometimes very mentally ill, sad people, were buying these books, not touching them. They were looking for the most perfect copy of a newsstand edition book where, 90% of them coming off the press were like VF or lower,
Oh, yeah.
So you're finding a near mint copy in your particular city, which could be in the middle of nowhere, from one like a dime store that happens to have comics. And you're putting a collection together, and that collection is not only lasting, getting to you, but also 40, 50, 60 years later, and then one of us is coming to you, buying the collection from you, and then selling it to, hundreds of people, possibly thousands, depending on the size of the collection. And again, it just brings us back to the fact that none of us own anything. We're caretakers.
Yes.
We have a
Well,
temporary
you and
responsibility.
I understand that.
Not so much.
I don't know.
I got
He bought
nothing.
a piece of art the other day for $200, wrecked it within 5 minutes, and sold it to me for $100 because he wrecked it already.
Well, owning
but
art-
that was so it's
Mike's not that careful. But owning art, also you have to understand,
Only when I
Mike's
wanted
seen and had everything, right? So when you've
yes,
held
100
everything,
times,
right,
1,000 times, 10,000 times.
I remember throwing a copy of Action 1 to somebody. It was in a CGC case, but I threw it
As a joke.
kind of because I knew that the person I was throwing it to
Who's going to catch it?
would shit his pants.
Would shit his pants.
Would
as
shit
a
his
joke.
pants.
Oops, see? There it goes.
And there goes
that?
Mike destroying my store.
Yeah.
Didn't take
Ow.
And I guess what I'm trying to get at is, okay, with art, it's even a greater responsibility because there's only one of them.
Right.
I was looking through boxes at my warehouse the other day, and literally a box that I was about to throw away, I go, let me just look inside. There's an envelope. I opened it up. There was a Jack Kirby Journey in a Mystery page.
No way.
That I'd forgotten I bought, was in this envelope, could easily have been thrown away, Luckily, we don't throw away anything. We just keep getting bigger warehouses.
Yeah, that's me
I
right
had
now.
some stuff for the show. I found a Sergeant Fury #1 that I didn't know I had. A bunch of junk. There you go.
Was that Steve laughing?
That's it. Yeah, you have to. The paper, but that's it. We deal in paper.
We deal in paper, but we deal in, when you look at some of this art, it's not just a comic book they're drawing. They're feeding their family doing that. You don't know what they were going through during that period of time. What kind of turmoil was happening in the country. A lot of the golden age is during World War II.
Yeah.
Real heavy stuff is happening, and the effect that it's having on these artists and writers. It's made for kids, but it's coming out in the stories, and that's why I think superheroes exist, is because there was so much awful, evil stuff happening during and before
coming out.
World War II that you had to almost say, I wish there was somebody like this person that could stop this,
Sure.
But they didn't exist.
They didn't.
But they wish they existed. So they created it, and then now
I think
we're still
the
benefiting
history
from
of societies all over the world have the mythology of greater powered beings. You know, either in Greek, Norse. You know that you know stand.
Well, we call it mythology, but it's really religion.
It was religion at those
Now
points.
it's considered
Yes.
mythology.
Yes.
So what will people be calling the religions that we adhere to today in 1,000 or 2,000
I thought
years?
about that. I mean, the advance now with the billion-dollar movies and all these superheroes now. My kids know the Secretary of State, no, but they'll know who the Avengers are.
Well, again, throughout history, most people are too busy trying to find their way in life, feed themselves, clothe themselves,
Right.
go through their everyday things. Not everybody knows the Secretary of State. Not everybody cares. They're like, okay, Secretary of State, great. How am I going to eat today? That's what they're concerned with.
Yeah. Hierarchy of needs, they call it in years.
We're very lucky to be in a position where we can care about this type of stuff.
Yeah.
On the level that we're at. Again, when I had no pot to piss in, right? I still loved it. I wasn't a collector the way I am now, but I loved it, and that's partly why I created this store.
You manifested this, and
I want that 12-year-old kid to walk into the store
and
have the same feeling I have.
There he is.
More.
awestruck.
But I also want
you doing?
I also want the 40-year-old to walk into the store and have that same feeling. That same feeling.
Well, I did. I had
felt.
that feeling today. Wow, this is the best comic book store I've ever seen.
If you guys have that feeling and
Yeah,
you've
it was
seen
nice.
everything,
Yeah.
then I've done my job.
And earlier today, there was a little boy. I mean, he was probably 6 or 7, and we gave him his first comic. And there was a 15, 16-year-old girl, and she came in, and she's like, "Oh, I've never been in a comic book store." And we hooked her up with a comic, and they were delighted, and it had a nice positive impact on their on their day.
Not every comic book store can afford to do what we did here. It costs a lot of money to do this, and I get that. But I would like to see...
Well, your detailing has been amazing. I mean, I love your aesthetic that you put into like this Fortress of Solitude, to the vault, to the...
to stuff like this, right?
Yeah, who's gonna spend this money on this? Nobody. You.
But that's kind of how it should be if you're in a comic store.
Okay, let's say you don't have any of the bells and whistles. At the end of the day, the books are here.
Yeah.
You walk into most comic book stores today, they don't have the books.
Yeah.
They have tables for gaming, they have Doritos, Coke. If I want that, I'll go to Walmart. Where's the comics?
Well, I've been across the country and I've walked into these
That's
stores.
another good button. Where's the
Where's
comics?
the comics? And then you go to
Forget the beef.
conventions,
Where's the comics?
and it's a complete joke. There's almost no semblance of a comic book convention at most of these conventions. In fact, thankfully, they started calling them pop culture events, because that's what they really are. And again, I don't hate that. It's great. You're bringing people into the fandom. Some of them will translate into a comic book reader. Some of them will. But what happened to the comic conventions where people will go, they trade books, you go running around like a madman in a nice size hall? I think in some ways we still have that, but we've surrounded it by a bunch of other bullshit. Those conventions are still there. We're going to go to San Diego in a week. Best convention in the world, in my opinion. It's still there, but you're not seeing the guy that was coming in from the Midwest that could afford a $50 a night hotel room and one booth, and he's going to sell a collection he found that was only available in his town.
Yep.
Those guys don't exist anymore.
No.
We could buy from each other all week.
I cited that with somebody the other day. The only new material that we're getting is guys that are subletting their booth illegally to some guy bringing in a collection because they've shut those people out.
Well, who's going to pay $3,000 for a booth?
Yeah. No, they've shut
Who
them
can
out.
afford it? So there has to be a change, right?
Well,
now, Comic-Con is the best event.
Your show coming up.
Kind of. It's meant to be a slight remedy for the people that can't afford or don't want to deal with going to these big cons.
Well, there's
That's a good word.
I mean, I've been
That
doing
makes
this
sense.
for the
That's
past
accurate.
several years. I've been doing the Sunday pop-up before San Diego, and I was doing well.
Yeah.
Because there's people that just can't deal with the hassles, the
They can't get in. They can't get in.
Hey, can
To
you
the
lend me a
serious
badge for a
discussions
day?
later. Yeah.
The whole work.
Tweak your mind in another direction later about conventions.
And
that
once
we
again,
talked about.
they are doing the best job they can. they have their hands full. I know the team. Justin is a wonderful guy.
No, I had a lot of interaction with Justin just now.
But the bottom line is, who are they going to make happy? Who are they going to make happy?
Yeah, exactly. Their
they put their finger in one plug to plug that hole in the dam, that one, then their feet. You know, at a certain point, you can't make anybody happy. So I made suggestions. I thought I had a great idea. Split it up into 2 rooms. You got people that just want to go there to see the Twilight, whatever, meeting. They want to see people.
Yes.
They want to wait in line all night.
Nathaniel Jones and Mrs. Who.
What doesn't make sense to me is they want to wait in line for 15, 20 hours to see a trailer that's available everywhere 10 seconds afterwards. What's the point of that? But they're clogging up the aisles. They're getting a badge. They don't buy anything. They don't sell anything. They don't read anything. They walk around. They're basically zombies walking around, you know, kind of like a Disneyland mentality. Right. So
no, they've shot their whole wad just getting there.
Make it 2 rooms.
Getting 8 rooms.
Make
8
it 2
people
rooms.
to a room.
Charge more to the people that just walk around. That's all they want. Charge less for the people that want to buy stuff. And the way you do this is that you have a partition. All the comic art dealers, the toy dealers, the statue dealers, the comic book dealers, and whatever else can be sold are in that section.
Straight up vendors.
Straight up vendors.
Yeah.
Lower their prices for the vendors.
Give us a
break.
break.
Make it reasonable.
Yeah.
You'll get more vendors that are better quality vendors or smaller guys. They should all be on a level playing field there to be able to sell, right? It shouldn't just be us. We'll absorb the costs. But what about that little guy from Cleveland that can't come
But
anymore?
it's brutal. I mean, I have 5 booths there. I mean, you have, what, 15? In your
I have
block?
11. Yeah.
Yeah, 11?
Yeah.
I mean, my nut just to show up.
Why don't you want to talk about my nut there?
Yeah.
It's a loss for me, okay? That convention's a loss for me. But I still do it because, first of all, the saddest day of the year for me, there's 2. New Year's Eve is sad because it's like you remember all the things that happened that year, and it's kind of like we reflect. I don't.
Sunday evening in San Diego.
Sunday evening at Comic Con.
Yeah, that's
sad.
Sad.
Yeah, man,
Sad.
it's over.
I'm happiest. God damn it, it's over. The 5 days of
Well, Mike, you don't.
and you're getting up every morning.
Mike,
but
you don't set up till Saturday.
No. I'm there on Monday buying stuff with you.
But you're not set up till Saturday. Half the
Probably,
time you're
right,
in LA looking at a
Barely
collection.
set up, yeah.
You're not involved.
Once I drove back and forth every day.
I understand.
I'm with Steve on Wednesday taking the boxes out the pallets, you know. So anyway, they do a lot of things really well. Tuesday, sorry.
Yeah, Tuesday.
They do a lot of things really well,
Steve.
but I mean, they can't think of everything every year. I mean, I see Justin and a couple of the other guys, Alex and a couple of the other guys there, and they are so stressed.
Rod.
So much pressure, you know, and they're doing a fantastic job, but there needs to be a remedy. You know, something has to change.
Remedy.
You know, it was the same thing I tried to deal with when Wizard went that way, and I haven't been able to do a Wizard show in years, and
I'll be doing Chicago.
they didn't
Still a great
seem
buying
to
show.
care.
Yeah, Chicago is awesome. The Rosemont, I'm going there.
Listen, they're
Are you
bringing
going
in.
down? You're gonna be in Chicago?
I'm gonna be there as a fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know.
Space in a booth? I got a booth.
No. I'll just go walk around. If you can get me a badge, that'd be great.
Yeah, no problem.
So I walk around.
Maybe I'll fly in and do
Yeah,
some
you
buying.
should do it.
And just have
Take
some
a
fun.
space.
We'll have some drinks. We'll go to
some
dinner.
on, yeah.
You know.
Oh, great restaurants.
Great restaurants.
Yeah, okay.
Chicago.
Yeah.
So
Great
let's make
food.
something happen behind it. Maybe do a buying event that afternoon.
So
People
what
come
what
by
happened to
while
a
you
lot
guys
of
are
these conventions? They just became such money makers, right? That our problems aren't of
They
consequence
don't even
to
register
them.
with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I know good friends of mine who became, you know, dealers that I've known for a long time who became, they went from exhibitor to the person running the convention, and there's a mind shift that happens.
Oh, yeah.
You know, once they see that green coming in, you know, but I don't rely on this business for my money. No. I have System of a Down for that. So I can do things that are a little more altruistic. You know, I care about the smaller guys. I care about people paying exorbitant fees to get into these conventions. We have a $25 max price to get into the convention. I will never have more than 100 dealers at my convention. Never. I'm not going to make it bigger.
That's the other thing that I've dealt with some of these like AAA shows, let's call them. They expand their floor by 2 times, but that doesn't mean they're going to bring in 2 times more money to support all those vendors.
It's better to
and
have
they don't
1,000.
care.
It's better to have 1,000 guys that come in who really want to be there for the product than have 50,000 people come that only clog up the aisles and don't allow people like us to make $1.
Yeah.
We're not. I've had people come up to me at my booth. You know what my booth looks like.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And they go, "Oh wow, is any of this for sale?"
Or you just
I go, "What the fuck do you think I'm doing here?"
As laid out as mine is sometimes, and it's just here, take it. Almost like people say that to me too. They think it's a museum.
Right. Well, that's because they don't know. You know, and I'm not here necessarily to educate people. I'm here to make money and to buy books and to sell books and to make deals. And that's what we're ultimately there for.
That's what the fun is, making a deal.
Making a deal is an enormous amount of fun.
Most fun I had this afternoon was the hour I went and bought and sold a comic book.
And also all those awesome conversations you have with people that have the same passion that you do for this hobby. You know, and they're all over the place, but it's becoming harder and harder to see them. Yeah. And I've also realized that somebody that will spend $10,000 on a piece of art or $20,000 on a comic will not spend $60 to park.
Oh my God!
Out of principle.
Do you have a badge for me?
Out of
they
principle.
Want $75 for me to walk in. Yeah. They don't want to. They don't want to.
I'm not going to pay it out of principle. I'll buy it from you online. Okay. So, it changes the whole situation.
I always thought about the idea of having a convention in a store as a thing, which you're kind of doing with the artists that you're bringing here, right? You have your scheduled artists in a way.
Well, I have a big plan for our 5-year, which is 4 years from now.
Okay.
I actually want to put a giant tent out there like a circus and have 50 to 100 different artists and writers here on one day.
Right. How about other comic book dealers? I'm in if you know you're the only one.
It's not for you.
Damn. Well,
it's for the fans. They're all going to come here. They're going to congregate.
That's what I want to do with Big Apple. I want to make it more a comic artist thing.
But I don't want to just have the tent. I want to have like performers.
I got a theremin player I just spoke to today.
Well, there you go. We'll bring him in.
Okay, I'll bring her in. Her name is Sarah. She's going to be on our show.
But I love your long-term plan in the way that you're trying to educate and develop your market so that those people don't just, they get turned on by that event and they come back to you, you know, for the next 51 weeks.
But you know better than anybody that Las Vegas is a small market, right?
Well, when we left here, there was only 200,000 people. That was like 76, 77.
Now there's 2 million, but they come and go a lot. So, you know, you can't really count on it. But what we tried to do, I just said, okay, I'm going to make a store that I want to see. And if it's successful, maybe there'll be a Torpedo Comics Los Angeles.
Did you ever hear of the Friendly Neighborhood comic book store? That Tom Heiner guy, that was first comic book store ever opened here? In Vegas,
Oh, really?
And that's the one I used to go to. And that's when I was reading like 20-cent Bronze Age books. And they still had those, you know, Rascally Roy, see issue 60, you know what I mean? And I was intrigued by that. I wanted to see issue 60, and he had back issues.
Marvel's Secret.
You know, and the continuity and the storylines of Spidey in the 140s and Cap in the 160s and Hulk in the 170s, they were still intact.
First of all, you have Len Wein writing.
They were, and Englehart.
God, that's
you know, and they're great writers. And that's what I wanted to read, those back issues. And this was before, you know, the Essentials and the all those type of reprint books. I went and had an entire Silver Age collection by the time I was finishing 7th grade.
Well, that's amazing.
Because I would buy, sell, you know, flip books, and, you know, I had the love of them, and I wanted to read them. I hustled them. Yeah. I sold coins. I sold. I think I even had some stamps and stuff like that.
So again, that brings up a great point. People like us have always been doing what we do. It's just that we chose comics and comic art as the medium for it, right? So I used to sell now-laters at school, in junior high.
I sold seeds.
I used to buy them for 10 cents, and I'd sell for 25 at school.
Yeah.
Which one?
Now-laters. It's a candy bar. It's a little candy, like square, almost like a Starburst, right, size.
Because it took so long to eat, because you ate it now and
oh my God. 10 cents, 25 cents. Now, I didn't pay taxes on that, so, you know, I was also 9 years old.
I have a letter that I sent to Marvel trying to get back issues in 1968 on Marvel stationery, saying I was an MMS member. And I sent them a check, which my dad signed. They sent it back to me because they didn't have the issues anymore. That's why I still have it. But I still have the signed check by my dad and the letter. So we were all doing
I saw that. That was amazing. I love that.
In the 60s, 70s, 80s, or whatever.
Vinny started selling comics on a street corner in New York.
Yeah.
You know?
West 4th Street, I think.
We all have the same story.
Well, doing it yourself, in a way. It's kind of the do-it-yourself theory of making money. not really
But
having to answer to anyone else but yourself, buying and selling. You could make money, you could lose money, you could break even.
We could have easily been real estate agents or doing something else, but we love this. We love finding a collection like you did here, you know, of something nobody's seen for 40 years
look
plus.
At this is I'm still going over this. These twice up art.
Look at it. It looks like it was printed yesterday. You know, it looks like it was drawn
from
yesterday.
Justice League number 11, 1962 or 60. I think 62.
And it's incredible that number one, these survived at a time when they were probably still throwing original art away at Marvel and DC or giving it away or doing whatever.
Right?
You know,
This cool picture of Batman and the other guys.
but somebody was able to save these.
Yeah, the other superheroes. You know,
Somebody
those
was
other guys
able to
with
save
masks.
these for us to enjoy today. Somebody saved these pieces.
And there's the let's throw the last one. That's the best one.
Yeah, I think that
With
is
all
the best one.
superheroes. Look at them.
The first one and the last
all
one
those
are my
guys.
favorites. Let's fix this. Anyway, let me show you guys my drum set. I don't know if you saw
Yeah,
it.
you wanna see that?
We're in
You
this
wanna
room
talk to
full of
us
art
about?
and stuff, but we looked at the drums a little bit. I think you can give us a little more insight into the musical instruments.
How much they?
Instruments.
25 to 45.
I don't remember the exact tour, but they
something
were
like
used
that.
on one. It was an Ozfest.
You know, depending on who's
I
featured.
don't remember which
and-
one. Could have been 2004.
Yeah, that's what I was
Played
thinking.
on any of these?
I played on all of them.
Every one of
That's
these.
one drum set.
That's one drum. This is one exact drum. Really?
This is my full setup for touring.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yes.
that's like your one kit.
My-
So the next tour?
Yeah.
No. I'll explain it, Mike.
Okay, right,
So back in like 2002, 2003, again, I was doing all these comic conventions.
This is bronze.
Yes, it is.
Oh my God! I thought it was. I just hit my elbow on it. I'm like,
Yeah,
what
this is
the
actually.
fuck?
This is actually.
not mess with you.
If you look at it, it's one of 30. And the prototype, the AP artist proof, is actually at Skywalker Ranch.
Was it one of the first Muppet design?
No. This was
things?
done later.
Oh, later.
Yeah, and probably like 15 years ago now. And again, there's only 30 of these, so it's pretty special. Anyway, so back to the drums. It was around 2002, 2003, and at that point, I already made some friends that were artists, you know, that I bought some art from, and you know, I tried as much as possible to buy it from the artists to support them, you know, because they got, especially a lot of the older guys, Wrightson and all these, you know, their art just became, you know, incredibly valuable.
But all the best stuff was gone.
And they were never able to benefit from it. You know, they either didn't get the art back or they just didn't have.
Well, they
the
sold it for
wherewithal.
beer money. I mean, you know,
No,
they used to tell me that.
They
Oh, I
needed to
sold
survive.
it for like $5.
They needed to survive. Back then, they needed to make rent. They had kids. They had a wife. They had to survive. You know, they didn't know that one day their pieces would be selling for 100 grand or 200 grand. They had no idea. I guarantee you, if they did, they wouldn't have sold them. You know, or they would have sold them for a lot more. But anyway, I became friends with a bunch of different artists. So the first 3 or 4 here that you see, that's Art Adams, that's Kaluta and Vess, that's Jim Lee, and that's Neil Adams up top, the snare there.
And Neil Adams is popping out with the joke. Holy cow! He did that. What, 15, 12 years ago?
Something like that, yeah.
Wow.
So I basically, some of them I knew, some of them I didn't. So Art Adams I didn't know that well, but I had purchased a couple of pieces from him, and I said, Art, you know I'm a drummer for this band, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I came up with this idea, let's do a drum set of just different artists. So Wrightson was automatically like, I'm in, you know, let's do it. Jim Lee, the same. A couple of the other guys, like Kevin Eastman, was like, no problem, right? But Art I didn't know that well. So I approached him and I said, hey, would you be willing to do this? And he said, well, let me think about it, I'm pretty busy. And then eventually he agreed. So he did the first drum. That was actually the first drum that was drawn, is that one, except that's the second version because they lost it. They lost the original
Okay,
one.
so let me ask you a question as a art dealer guy.
So somewhere out there, there's another.
No, it's
dude.
gone. It got thrown away.
Really?
Were you sending out flat
No.
plastics or
No.
these round?
Just the shell.
Oh, the shell.
So they had to
Okay.
draw on a curved surface.
Yeah, they had to draw on a curved surface.
Curved
That's what
surface.
I'm asking.
Yes.
And all the metal was screwed in, all the
After.
little knobs and
After the
everything.
fact. So if you take all the metal off, that drum is actually very light. It's basically just a little piece of wood, thin piece of wood. So he did the piece, he gave it back to me. I gave it back to Tama because Tama was then going to put the clear coat around it to protect the art, right? There's a plastic clear coat around that. And
Where's Tama located?
North Hollywood.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I blew up the location after they fucked that up. So they put the box on the counter and somebody threw it away.
The end of Tama.
So now I got to call Art Adams and say,
Tomahawk.
you're going to get a tomahawk. I go, Art, I'm sorry, man. I don't know how to tell you this, but they lost it, or it got stolen. And he was like, oh, that's okay, John, send me another one. So he was so gracious, he did another one. And I was so lucky. And I told him, I go, look, we got to bust their balls. They can't just get away with it. So, because I told Tama, I'm thinking about leaving Tama because of this. You know, you embarrassed me in front of the artist, blah, blah, blah. You didn't respect the art. And, you know, this is several $1,000s worth of art if he was to charge me for it. Anyway, he wouldn't do it. He's too nice a guy. But then I had like, I went up to Neil Adams' table at Comic-Con, and I always used to take my CDs because I would give them as gifts to people back when people had CD players. Mm-hmm. And I went up to Neil and I said, Neil, you probably never heard of the band, but you know, here's our CD and I want to give it to you as a gift. And then I told him about the project and I said, if you feel like doing it, here's my number, please give me a call. And then I left, you know, thinking I would never hear from him. And then apparently his son was a fan of the band. So his son went up to him and said, oh, you got to do this, Dad, you know, I love the band, blah, blah, blah. So he ended up doing it, brought the family out to show. I mean, it's just like meeting all these artists, and now we have them coming at the store, coming to the store and doing signings here. But it's like they're so, you know, we idolize these people growing up. You know, I looked at Jim Lee art for 10 years, 15 years before I met him. You know, looking at especially X-Men, which I loved, the Fantastic Four I loved, right, before he went to DC. And I used to just, I couldn't imagine meeting these people, even more than meeting some of my heroes in music. Because the art was something I couldn't do, right? Music I could do. I could play drums.
That's
I could understand how to play guitar. I could understand singing, although I have no talent for it. You know, I understood all that stuff. But this, I would try to draw something. I would try to write something, but it was never the same. It never looked right, and I couldn't understand how they could basically take something in their head and make it happen on paper, and make it look like a snapshot of time. You know, look at that John Byrne piece over there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it looks like
we were looking at that before. That's how we
is
ended
that
the last.
the biggest commission he's ever done?
he may have done a couple in that size, but I mean, I have to really fight against my urge to color that in, because that would be the coolest coloring book ever. Something that size. Yeah.
He did do a coloring book. You know, no, he did a sci-fi like Star Trek-y coloring book, you know, for adults, and that's might be the last art that he ever does.
That's a bummer.
Because he's doing Star Trek collage comics.
Now, this is Kevin Eastman.
Kevin Eastman.
And this is
Bill Sienkiewicz.
Oh, I was wondering, and I'm looking at the signature. I can barely make. Oh my God, this is like almost the most interesting piece there.
Yeah, they're all interesting for one reason or another. Tim Vigil did a piece, but obviously I have to have that turned in because it's Tim Vigil, you know, and he basically did a demon getting, fellatio.
Where's the Tim Vigil?
It's on the other side of the Wrightson right there.
Well, I have a Wrightson page where it's from that story. Go find that page.
There's Wrightson.
Uh-huh.
Tone Rodriguez.
Well, let's try to sell it.
Rodriguez.
Yeah, up there is Burton. There's a couple of people on that drum.
You
Bradstreet.
had Miller here just recently. You couldn't add him to a little.
Well, I would love to have had Miller do it. But again, this was a piece of history for my band.
Right.
I only took it on the one tour.
then.
Get in camera shot here. I only took it on the one tour, which was I think 2004 Ozfest or something like that. And then I was petrified to take it on another tour. You know, I didn't want to ever take it on tour again. In fact, for that entire tour, I made sure that there was somebody guarding the drum set at all times. Wow. So I didn't want to have another drum missing.
Well, how about, you know, I go to concerts and I see them switching out drums because they go out of tune or whatever. I mean,
there's no time to do that during our concerts.
Oh,
the only time you'll switch out a drum is if I break the head, and that doesn't happen very often. They're pretty. I use like double ply, and they're pretty strong. So yeah.
Okay.
Jim did that piece right there. That was our old logo for Torpedo Comics when I first opened the company. So that's pretty special, and it's something I'll cherish for life.
How long ago was that? When was that?
Shit, I don't remember. I had like 3 or 4 different names before it was Torpedo Comics. The original name was Middle Earth Comics.
Oh, really?
But then all the Lord of the Rings stuff coming out, and I go, I'm going to get sued. I'm just going to change it, you know.
So you loved Lord of the Rings too?
I still love Lord of the Rings, yeah.
That's cool.
To me, that's the greatest masterpiece ever written. You know, and I've read.
I was a big Dune fan.
The class. Dune is unbelievable.
Yeah. People don't
Unbelievable.
understand.
Yeah, but the
That
second
was the source material from the 60s that Lucas and all these filmmakers were referencing.
Well, listen, you read Dune today, and it's like
It's thick.
It's even more relevant.
Yeah.
Even more relevant. I wish that the second one, the second book, would have gone a little, maybe double the size, because I felt like he rushed the end of this. He was just developing
Children?
It's a pretty thick book to begin with.
You're talking
No,
about
not
the
really.
original, like Frank's
Dune.
original books. Yes. Did you read any of the that the son and Paul Anderson did?
No.
Very good.
Yeah?
Very good reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the world he
House
created.
Atreides, House Harkonnen, House the ruling class planet.
I never read any of them, but
Those guys.
any of the other books except for Herbert's, right?
Yeah.
But the world he created.
Yeah.
You could have stories for years.
Cameron talks about that. James Cameron about world building.
Correct.
And that's his thing. Like
And
building
that's
a world.
another thing about, that draws me to J.R.R. Tolkien, is that he didn't just create a world. He created the mythology. He created, like, basically Genesis, right? Like the beginning of everything. He created language, text. I mean, what didn't he create, right? Like, that is a masterwork. A masterwork. He's
It's
a
almost
genius.
like an Old Testament of how man got to the place where he is today.
Yeah.
That's
You could say that.
Yeah.
Although I think the creativity that died with him, we will not see again. And I
interesting.
compare it to things, modern stuff that people are really into, and
They're just not.
it's not even in the
as-
same world.
yeah,
If
it's
they
not
made,
even
if they could make a
sophisticated
TV
enough.
show of the Silmarillion, it would help make up for the abomination that we call the Hobbit. But if they could make a TV show based on the Silmarillion that could go on for 10 years, and it'd be captivating.
See,
Maybe it'll happen.
again, another passion that you have for the fantasy.
Science fiction.
Science fiction, fantasy, if it's done well, superheroes. It's all about, like, Lucas said it best. I just created a story about a family. It just happens to be set in space a long time ago,
Well, see, that again goes back to Dune for me, because like there was the the Kwisatz Haderach, the universal super being that was going to bring balance and justice to the universe, the known universe again. And what is Luke, except that guy?
Right.
You
It's
know,
very similar.
Yeah.
And you also have to take you also have to take Tolkien into consideration when you have all the different characters. You basically have a dwarf type character. You have, the female Arwen type character. I think
elves.
he took a lot from. Well, look, he was inspired.
Did you like the Will Smith movie?
Which one?
The about the J.R.R. Tolkien's world in the modern day, where the elves were the ruling class. What was it called?
Will Smith?
Right.
Missed that one.
Bright.
I haven't seen it. Is it good?
Oh, you didn't see it? Wow. I would suppose you would see that.
Yeah. Wasn't
Yeah.
that
Don't know
directed
this
by
one.
the same guy who directed?
It was. He did it for Netflix. I mean, so it's
What
readily
else did he-
available.
but I think he did something else that I didn't like.
Oh,
so that's
yeah.
why I didn't see it.
Okay.
Who's the writer or director on that?
I can't remember either, but I
I'll
thought
see
it was cool.
If you think it's good, I'll see it.
I mean, they moved like, okay, this whole thing is like today, and the elves were like their controllers of magic, so they were the ruling class. Humans were in between.
Subordinate.
They were the middle
Subordinate,
class
yeah.
or working class, and then the orcs were the lower class. And
That sounds super interesting.
Yeah. and they were discriminated against. They were harassed. They were, police brutality. It was all.
And one of
about-
them becomes a cop, right? For the first
Yeah,
time.
that was the first orc that like is penetrating like, middle class, like he's an actual working police officer, and that was unheard of. And he was discriminated against, and it was almost like the South in the 60s type thing, like.
David Ayer is the director, and Max Landis was the writer.
What else have they done?
Max Landis, I thought he did some comic book stuff.
Oh, you know what? I think one of them did. What was that DC movie? It was terrible.
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
That's right. It was David Ayers.
Yes, that was a piece of shit.
That's why.
Okay, and I got it for free. Jim gave it to me as a gift, and I threw it away. It was horrible.
I've been staring at
Horrible.
Cherry Pop Tart. I really like the
hate
Cherry Pop Tart hard.
I couldn't have disliked it more. Yeah. See, I like stories. I don't want just. That's why I can't stand J.J. Abrams. Because he doesn't. There's no. There's nothing connecting anything. It's just like, okay, let me throw some bright lights at you and make everything look really pretty, and that'll confuse you until I get my money and I leave. You know, but where's the story? What am I supposed to be delving into? What's supposed to interest me when I leave this theater? What am I going to remember? Which is nothing. You remember nothing from a J.J. Abrams movie. I saw those Star Trek movies, and I can't remember a fucking thing except for he copped out and did like a time, you know, different dimension bullshit. You know, like just a complete cop out.
Star Trek.
Yeah, because he's a nothing. You don't remember anything he did because there's no depth to it.
A movie that you remember after you get in your car is a movie that's good. That's kind of it.
I don't know how many cars you've been hit by, but
But that's it. If you walk out of the theater and you forget, you start talking about something else when you're done. That's it. Wasn't that great?
I mean, I can't forget. If I tried to forget what happened in Godfather, I can't do it. And that's based on a shit book.
That's a good way of looking. If you try
Have
to
you read the Godfather book?
No,
it's shit. Shit. How Coppola looked at that and said, "I'm going to make a movie based on this book." I do not know.
Yeah.
Because it's imbecilic writing, really, you know. And look, these are my opinions. Obviously, you're entitled to yours. I don't really care. These are my opinions.
Speaking of
I'm telling you what
You're the king, and this is your castle.
Did you ever see the Coppola movie he made between Godfathers, The Conversation?
No. Good?
Oh my God, that might be one of the best movies that he's ever made. He made
Yeah.
Between Godfathers. So
Really?
imagine his mind and his powers that be were great. And, it was with Gene Hackman.
And there's a
it's-
guy who takes chances on actors. He finds like diamonds in the rough, right? Like
Alfredo, the actor,
he
was
puts his
the
own
main
money.
character in there.
Fredo, yeah. Well, you know
Fredo
what
was-
happened with De Niro and Fredo during Deer Hunter. Well, De Niro had to guarantee all the money because he was dying of cancer.
During the Deer Hunter.
During the Deer Hunter, during the filming.
Cimino's film.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
one of the extended friends back in the mining town.
And they
He
said
doesn't
well,
go off to Vietnam.
he's going to die. We can't do it, right? Because he had cancer. What if he dies in like 2 weeks? And all that shooting we're going to do is for nothing. And from what I know, Robert De Niro had to say, I'll cover the expenses if he doesn't survive. Now that guy was a phenomenal actor, phenomenal. I think he's the best actor out of the Godfather movies, in my opinion, including Brando, De Niro, Pacino. He was the best for me.
Well,
That can
he
be
had
arguable.
Good. See the Conversation. You'll freak out. He's in that. It's
This is the
amazing.
conversation.
Yeah, this is it too.
To say he
The
had
Conversation.
a pivotal role is an understatement because it all pivoted with his actions. He betrayed him.
Yes.
You know.
Well,
I
he
know-
made
I
you
know-
love Fredo.
And what was the? You know, I know it was you.
You love
Fredo.
Fredo. You loved
You
him.
broke my heart.
But you also understand why he betrayed Michael. Because he
Yes,
was
because he was
He was older
underappreciated,
brother,
yes,
right?
and-
He's the middle brother.
I was passed over.
That's right.
I'm the big brother. Why am I the one
right.
to be passed over?
You loved Sonny because Sonny had passion.
Yeah, he had the charisma.
right, and Sonny was
And
a
he
smart
had-
guy, but he couldn't hold on to. Yeah, well,
Remember
that too. Yeah.
At the party. I remember every beat of that movie. You want
Yeah.
to talk about that movie?
I mean, you
I'll talk
memorize
about
it. You memorize the lines. You walk out of a J.J. Abrams movie, you don't even know what movie you saw.
I don't even know which one I'm a big Star
Like,
Trek
what did I
fan, and I
see?
forgot.
And let's not talk about that atrocious fucking Lost. I stuck with that with 2 seasons. I saw that was going nowhere. I go, that's
I never
enough.
watched it, and I had
That's it. I'm out.
a good friend of mine was one of the lead actors in that, Josh Holloway.
It's a shame because I do like watching Hawaiian, you know, like that kind of scenery and everything. But fucking A, man, give me a story, something I can get behind and think about, and like something that makes me think about my life. You know, that's what your fucking job is. Your job isn't to hand me a goddamn McDonald's hamburger. You know?
Yeah.
Give me a steak. Anyway.
Wow.
Anyway, this is my original
Here we
art.
go. Let's keep going. This is great. This is
It's
good.
all right.
From
Yeah, I mean,
70s
you
film to
have-
70s art.
You have some stuff that's out, but you have some stuff that's in your office that you like really love. You wanna show us some of that?
Okay, well, it's also stuff that I couldn't put out here because there are kids that
you
come
know,
in.
you don't have to show us that, but I mean, we saved that till
Are
you
we
were
going to
here.
the TARDIS again? Can we bring the camera in the room?
You can.
Oh boy, here we go.
But please keep your penis in your pants this time.
Okay, we'll do that.
Oh my God.
Are you coming in?
Come on, Shannon.
Somebody's got to watch
Let's go.
this stuff.
So you've already seen
I mean,
this.
is there anybody out there can watch the stuff?
My guys are out there. So you've seen this. This was basically the first comic book I bought. You know, in that first day, and
So you're nostalgic about this.
very much so. And I got really raked over the coals on it by an art dealer who I'm not going to mention right now, but I'm not going to tell you. But he had a habit of raking me over the coals on pieces that he knew I loved. I paid at the time $7,500 for this, and I think
you're not hurting in it.
well,
I mean,
they were selling for $2,000 at the time.
okay.
You know,
But this is a very oversized piece. I mean, it's.
But most of his Salvatore de Conan pieces are oversized.
Well, I know Joe, but you know, I get along with him, but you know.
Oh, he didn't sell it to me. Joe's the nicest guy on the planet.
I understand. But it's like 1984, and you have a Iberian monarch on his throne, and you have these 80s stripper, aerobicized chicks in, you know, 80s bathing suits. That's what bothers me.
I got news for you, bro.
Yes.
If you're the king,
okay,
you're gonna have a lot of girls.
Okay.
Okay. You're gonna have whatever
But
you
she's
want.
wearing pumps. She's
That's
like,
right. That's right.
I mean, this
Those
is
aren't
supposed to be pre-history.
You see a pump on that? There's
No, he just kind of
That's a
said,
slipper.
"Oh, I want her to."
That's like an Arabian slipper.
I'm copying the stripper pose, but
It's a stripper,
gonna-
man. The girls still look the same back then.
All
They were just a little hairier.
I don't know.
I already told him. What kind of bitch do you expect him to have around?
He's bitching about the shoes.
Oh, and the costume.
I have everything to bitch about.
I mean, when was that? That was like prehistory.
The inner sanctum.
That's right.
All right, so let's talk about this piece right now because
Sure.
this really catches my eye.
Yeah,
this,
that's a beautiful Frank Cho double
Frank
cover.
Cho, Supergirl, Poison Ivy, Power Girl, Catwoman, Joker, Killer Croc.
Is this published?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got all the villains.
In what? It was a pin-up or something, or just
No, it's a cover.
Cover for.
Yeah.
All right, you got the Harley Jackals. Where's
What
Harley?
company is this? Is it DC?
Of course it is. What do you mean? It's Supergirl.
Yeah, but where is this? Where is this published? What's the name of it? What comic?
This is
I don't remember.
Okay.
This is a lady that he did, Frank Cho as well.
But where's Harley, dude?
Harley's got to be on there.
Harley's not on there. Her Jackals are,
She may not
but
have been at this time. How long ago is this?
This is recent.
no, this is
So
from
this
last
is another
year, I think.
of his pieces that I just bought,
Yeah,
which is a beauty, Lady
Nice.
Death. You like that one, right?
absolute beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, this is great
You know they're
art.
making a movie at a Razor.
I heard.
Everett Hartsoe now.
Fantastic.
And the Razor comics are starting to go up. I mean, from a book you could have bought for $5 or $10, $20 now is like $200 to $400.
And here's yet another one. I love this cover. Isn't that fantastic?
That's fun.
And unlike you, I have to get everything framed so I can hang it up, you know?
Who's
Well,
that?
I just destroy frames. That's I just get
Who's
them
that one?
destroyed.
The
so-
Harley Quinn and the Monster?
This is Frank Cho as well.
That's Frank Cho as
Yeah.
well.
Wow.
So this is the production art for that lunchbox.
Oh, really? Oh, that is nice. I was looking at the lunchbox. I didn't realize that's the art for it. That's
Yeah,
super.
but that's 80s stuff. He couldn't care less about that.
No, that's not true.
No, he likes
I
all
bought a
that
color
kind of
from his
stuff.
warehouse once, as a matter of fact.
I bet
the
you
whole
did.
warehouse.
I completely believe that, by the way.
All those ones you see, all the Kiss remnants, all the art. I sold it all to Jeppy.
That good enough?
That's
I think
great.
we're cool.
I think
Thank
you have like
you
a
so
whole
much
season's
to,
worth.
to
John.
his name's Adam.
No, I meant John. John, thank you very much.
Adam,
you're very welcome.
We
Thank
got
you
a
for-
ton of business to do in San Diego.
Okay,
Okay, so I'm looking forward to doing a lot of stuff back and forth, buying, selling, all kinds of stuff.
as always.
And thank you so
and
much
Sunday at your show.
for allowing us in your inner sanctum, your sanctum sanctorum.
You're always welcome. Always
Thank
welcome.
you,
The
John.
Hardy host of Hagen.
And thank you. That's so cool. You know, we've kind of archived the origin of John Dalmayan.
That's right. Don't mind.
Oh
Don't
my
like the
God! I
pineapple.
said it right one time.
Don't like the pineapple, mine like the people.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Tried to
Thanks for
tell
coming
him.
out.